Hi everyone, so my name's Kinley and this is my video for the Nature and Humanities final paper. So for this project I decided to do the research paper option and I chose to focus on one specific major American city and really look into their environmental justice and what problems have arisen, who the agents and targets are, and all of that. So for my city, I decided to choose Flint, Michigan. I know that technically it's not considered a major US city, but I figured with everything that's happened there and the water crisis, it would just be really fun to look into it and really analyze it. Something that I found to be absolutely fascinating was how much happened. The media really only picked up with all of the events starting in about 2014 or 2015, but it actually started all the way back in 2011. At that time, the city had found out that there was nearly a $25 million deficit in their government. So, in order to cut costs, they decided to move their water source from the Detroit water plant to a new plant. And in the meantime, while they built those new routes, they were going to be taking water from the Flint River. So, they decided to do this without doing any environmental impact studies or really looking at any of the water and its drinkability. So within 2 months of them making that change, there were reports being flooded into the city government about the smell and the color of the water, and it just continued to get bigger and bigger from there. Writing this paper ended up being a huge struggle because coming at it from a research standpoint and trying to keep an unbiased opinion was really difficult, especially reading all these firsthand accounts of children that were getting extraordinarily sick and listening to people desperately asking for help from their local government and not receiving it. It was really, really frustrating, but definitely eye-opening. Something that I found to be extraordinarily interesting about it and that I wasn't aware of is that 53% of Flint, Michigan citizens are actually African American. And of their entire population, 40.5% fall well below the poverty line. This I found to be really interesting because it really leads the debate of had this happened in a major US city with a higher income, would it have even happened? So that's really what I tried to focus on when I was looking at who the targets were, because it's clear that this was an impoverished community. Their median income was barely over $26,000 a year for the average household. At the same time, the national median income was over $58,000. So that really just shows the discrepancy in their monetary wealth. So that was really what I focused on when looking at who the targets were, who the agents were, and when you read through all of it and you start to understand that these weren't people that were asking for anything more than water that they could consume. It got to the point where what they were consuming ended up being so high in lead that it was causing severe developmental delays in the children that they think is going to continue for these children. So even now, it's been 3 years since this first started. The kids are still showing major signs of delays, and they're smaller than what they should be, and they're not eating as much, and there's a higher ADHD population now in Flint, and it's really interesting how it can all be traced back simply to the negligence concerning the water. One of the final things that I found just to be really, really interesting, and I tried to focus on it among my paper, and I hope that it's something that other people pick up, is the fact that throughout all of this and throughout all the help that they asked, it was just constantly denied. There was government officials that would legitimately tell them, you guys need to relax, this is okay, there's nothing wrong with our water. And I think that that is, again, proof that an impoverished community isn't taken as seriously as somebody who may be more economically well off. So I really hope that other people can find some interesting things in this article, or in my paper. I put a bunch of sources at the bottom that I hope people look through. A lot of them are the actual financial reports that came from the United States Treasury and the Treasury of Michigan. So I hope everybody enjoys it and y'all have a great winter break.